question was like, so for people want to leave America and like try to find those
Leave America and go where?
back
Let's
home.
be honest. Go back where? It's not cool back home.
It's not.
I mean, my country now is in the economy now is in shambles. Like,
But
So, hello everyone. Okay, welcome back again. Thank you for watching the previous video, and I believe I mentioned that I was going to do a follow-up, to address this comment, in my previous video about Davido's comment and the reaction that trailed after that. And there were a lot of comment. There was a lot of backlash. A lot of people came out, expressed disappointment. A lot of people came on, supported Davido, and they felt Davido said the right thing. I think as a result of the backlash, he had to do another sit down as well to address the what he said in context as well, which I think it was unnecessary because I thought he said exactly what he needed to say correctly. This is spot the moment, and in truth, Nigeria is in shambles. So again, what people do not expect us to do is to lie. Nigerians are known for one thing: resilience, joy, happy people. But we tell the truth when it comes to, we hear it all the time saying Nigerians are no nonsense people. All right. Um, there's this politician in South Africa, the EFF guy, when he talks about how Nigerian people say we're forceful, but we just stand for what we think is right. Okay. The only problem is that we also have a government who's so forceful that they're ready to kill or maim or unalive someone if it comes to that. So in this conversation that David had with this particular guy, he talked about how Nigeria was in shambles. If you hear him clearly, you would see he wanted to talk about how bad the government was initially, which he did say eventually. But the lady sitting right above David is Nymat of TVC. Yeah. Now Tiva's reaction was that she was quite disappointed. I think our colleague, when I watched the video as well later, our colleague, I think it was Topware or something, talked about what is wrong. What did he say that was wrong? But Nima went ahead as well and talked about what she felt and how she felt like Davido actually demarketed Nigerian, which I will come back to later as well. But just as an intro, this is the reaction. This is my reaction. This is my strategic reaction to what David said. All right. But I just want you to listen to it one more time. I believe a lot of people have watched it anyway over the last couple of months. And when he first said it and the outreach that came as well. But it's just more like a refreshing because rather than just talking about it like a monologue, I just wanted to play the video. We see it together, have this conversation about it. Okay. Again, remember, we're trying to make sure we have a Nigeria that we want. And this is about the time to step into it. So we would take case studies, case in points, and use that to exemplify what we're trying to the idea we're trying to communicate. And then obviously paint the picture of what we want to see in our future as well. So I'll say continue watching, please.
If people are leaving,
I do my part.
Yeah.
I'm an ambassador. So when I go home and I'm filming and showing, I'm not gonna show the bad parts. I ain't gonna show all the
you're not gonna try to slum. You're not gonna show the trenches.
No, I go to the trenches.
Yeah.
I film trenches, but I'm talking about the situation in the country.
Yeah.
We Nigerians, you know what I'm saying? Like now the exchange rate is messed up. A lot of stuff not going well. You know what I'm saying? The economy is just not good anymore.
So one marker there, the exchange rate is messed up, the economy is not good, Nigeria is in shambles. Those three markers. So let's continue.
The oil prices are too high. And imagine a country that produces oil. We didn't produce the oil, and we pay more money for oil than a country that's importing the oil. You know what I'm saying? So there's stuff like that. But regardless, entertainment is one of the things that's made Africa look good.
Yeah.
We do not have the best leaders. That's a fact.
Again, entertainment is what has made Africa look good. We don't have the best leader. That's a fact. So again, I said from the beginning when I started this, I said this content as a when I said the strategy is to create the Africa that we want, the Nigeria that we want. And the fact of the matter is that we have a very corrupt leadership leading our nations, leading Nigeria. Okay. And David is a global brand. And he said something that is factual, that is known all around the world. You don't need a soothsayer, somebody to paint the picture otherwise. It is the fact that we have corrupt leaders. It's the fact that we have bad leaders. It's the fact that we have leaders who are hell bent on, you know, stealing the nation to right. Okay, so a lot of reaction trailed this comment. Um, Nymat one stood out to me because she talked about how the president of Nigeria, the current president of Nigeria, as proclaimed by INEC, goes around the world looking for direct foreign investors to come into the country. Now, David's comments sort of demarketed Nigeria, which I will come back to later. But I want you to fix your mind on the fact that David mentioned something. He talked about how the country is in shambles. He talked about how bad or how we don't have good leaders, and he talks about the exchange rate. But he talks about something that he mentioned something as well that was quite important. Our entertainment is what is making Africa shine, which is another fact. So I must also include as well, there are global Nigerians around the world who are not in entertainment, but they're doing things in medical, in science, in technology, in banking, just name it. Nigerians at home and in the diaspora are doing exploits. So I would say, in spite of the tough conditions, in spite of the hardship, Nigerians still find a way. They still find a way to do exploit in spite of our bad government. And we've had bad government for years. We have criminal elements become government officials, and nothing else they can do but do criminal stuff. In my last video, I mentioned someone like the Ayabelo or Alison Desiani as well. People could literally be allegedly. I mean, the allegation here against like the Aya Festival is that he stole 190 billion. That's as alleged. They didn't say that. EFCC said that. I didn't say that. It's all over the news, so I'm only repeating that. Okay. There's the fact about Alice in Diziani. There's the one for Emefiele. So when Davido said that, it's a fact that we don't have good leaders, and that's a fact. Okay, so we cannot argue that. But I want to play Neiman's reaction, and I'll come back on the other side.
Okay, so Davido did something very responsible, and I stick to it. Davido is one of the privileged Nigerians who are dual citizens. He talks about his Atlanta background a lot. Did he do a service to Nigerian who doesn't have that privilege? No, because that Nigerian needs an investor who would set up and create an enabling labor market that will give him life, that will empower him, that will employ him. What Davido has simply done is that when Ashwabi is taking a plane to country to look for the foreign investors that will come here, he told them, don't come.
So I wanted to put a marker on and let this part finish, but I will say something and I'll jump back as well later after I continue let her play. So she's actually saying Davido has actually demarketed Nigeria, because by that comment that David made, she's saying that when Tinubu, as you can see there, goes around the world to look for investment, David is saying, don't come, don't come. But again, remember from the beginning, I said put a marker on David's comment about bad leadership. Okay? And I want to play these and I will continue playing and then I will react to what she's going to say next as well.
He's done a service to the average Nigerian inside Ede that does not know the royal family of Ede. Has he done a service to the Nigerians in Owaron, who is in the bush trying to get wood? Has he done anybody a privilege in the rice farms in Bida? No, he hasn't.
So she's mentioned 3 categories of people or, areas. This is quite funny. I mentioned earlier, I said, in spite of the situation, in spite of the hardship, in spite of the difficulty, the barriers of difficulty that our government has put in place to impede Nigerians from, progressing. The theft, the fraud, the mismanagement, the bad leadership, in spite of it, Nigerians are still accorded enormous respect globally, in spite of it. So now to address the part, what Nymat forget to say or mention here is that in spite of all these difficulties, Davido is an employer of labor and has been. In spite of all of this, Davido has been a global ambassador for Nigeria to the rest of the world. In spite of this, as Davido mentioned in the previous video that I played, entertainment is what is causing or making Africa shine. In spite of the difficulties, the the level playing ground is not the same that we have. Our government officials have better level playing ground because there's still so much, and they ship their children to the West while they leave the rest of us at home to suffer. So what are you going to expect Davido to tell, like to lie? Nigerians are known to telling, listen, Nigerians are well known abroad to tell people how they feel. They're straight to the point, straight shooters. Take no nonsense, but also be truthful and be kind. They're one of the nicest people you can meet around the world. But yet we carry the blemish. Like, see that? Nigerians carry the blemish of bad governance. Bad governance. If the hardship from this administration and the previous APC administration wasn't so hard, you would not be seeing Nigerians crossing rivers to get into the Western countries. And many of them have died in the process. You're talking about, Nymat was talking about how the president goes around the world in a hard situation where the country is actually struggling. They're buying private jets. They're buying yachts. They're spending billions on cars they don't need. And then we get this reaction that is more like a selling point for her. This is my take. I think she was just advertising on for Tinubu anyway, so that's what I think. The influence, the amount of investment that the entertainment industry has brought into Nigeria, our government hasn't done it. The other day we saw Tucker Benson telling somebody she was going to make the person lose his or job. A minister of tourism who cannot really brag about how much investment she's actually helped bring into Lagos State to create job, tells another person, another Nigerian, in this harsh economy, that he was going to call the person's boss in Abuja to make the person lose their job. Imagine that. So what was Nymat expecting Davido to say? Oh no, just come around, invest. You're going to get, yes, it's a good investment ground, but the situations are hard. Tell Nymat to go to the bank to go get a loan and come and tell us how much interest rate she will pay. We're talking about 40% interest to start up a business. How are you going to make profit in that? It means for every £1, every £1 that you borrow, you're paying 30, 40 naira for it. So multiply that by millions. So what she's saying doesn't really make any simple sense. She's emotionally reacting to the comment. And I think just because she works at TVC anyway. So we're talking about somebody whose influence has actually helped push tourism to Nigeria. Almost mainly benefited by Lagos State. David, Wizkid, name it, so many of them. We've not even come to talk about Nollywood and our skit makers. How they're pushing contents daily outside just to promote Nigeria and then by themselves creating jobs by themselves. I mean, you were talking about, I'll continue as well. Let me just play this as well, okay?
He has spoken who's truth of the elites. The people who spend dollars, what do we stop? Not the people who buy beans per pinto. We know that the country is hard. We know that these reforms were forced on us because if we had continued to feed the elites, we would be worse off.
Yeah.
They had to take out subsidy, stop the payment. Allocation has increased to state governors, but we are not asking the governors.
No.
We have removed the supplement that we give to dollars so that we can buy it cheaply. We are now forced to buy it how we see it. And this is the real value. We are suffering under that weight. And what you can say is bad bad here. This is not bad. Did you hear the campaigns?
So I'm going to continue here as well because I'm trying not to make this as long as the previous video as well. So um again, like I mentioned, I'm trying to wrap my head around the emotions, and I think our reaction was emotional just to buy people's views. The truth of the matter here is that Nigeria is hard at the moment. Government policies haven't worked. And in every sane country where your policy as a government hasn't worked, is either you step down or call for a new election. But we know that's never going to happen in Nigeria. Buhari's government policies didn't work. Tinubu's government policy hasn't worked. It didn't work from day one when he said top subsidy was gone or subsidy is dead, whatever he said then. It didn't. It threw Nigeria back in, backward. You know the prices of things before inauguration, the prices after inauguration, and the prices of things now. You know the state of the economy. Before people always said that um, we will wish that we had Buhari at the time. If you come to realize that people are not wishing they had Buhari, as bad as Buhari was, people are not wishing they don't have Tinubu. We're saying, I mean, this man been given a nickname called T-Pain. So we're talking about people saying we don't want you anymore. Your policies ain't working. They're not working. When you crash the economy from day one, this is no different from what the lady Liz Truss did in the UK, or by the time back then in America, in Judge Bush did when he crashed the economy. So it's not different. We don't have. David said it clearly, and this is where I'm using this particular video as well because I wanted to use this to talk about the need for the 2027 election, and I'm going to be using different um, context as well to hammer on the need for us Nigerians to start getting our PVC right now. To make sure that we go to INEX office, register to get our PVC, fill all the forms, quickly get our PVCs. Because we cannot wait until next year. We cannot wait until 2027 because that's what they're counting on. The crop of leadership that we have, from the governor to the presidency to the local government chairman and the councillor, they're not fit for purpose. We need to revamp the kind of leaders that we have. We need to Nigeria need a complete overhaul. Constitution is not fit for purpose. The lawyers have been saying it. The people in the judiciary, as corrupt as they say, they've been saying it. It's not fit for purpose. There's a lot of interference coming from the executive to the judiciary. Now, let's talk about demarketing in Nigeria. Nigeria got demarketed when INEC, courtesy Mahmoud Yakubu, declared somebody who didn't win the election as the winner of the election. And in the presence of the entire world, the world saw who knew who won the election. The world knew that the election was rigged. So we rigged the election in the very face of the entire world, and we expect the fact that the person in whose favor the election was rigged will go into the world and start looking for investment. And you think the investors are not wise, and they don't see back in the days where the legacy media was given the right to tell the truth about tell the stories about the nation are gone. Most people get their news today from online sources, where it's coming direct from the people rather than actually spins. Do you understand? Back in the days, government could say, "Oh no, we're doing this. The people are happy." No one's making any research. Today, you can just go on Google, just type whatever you want at time, and you will see the result. And the election, a Nigerian election, the entire would follow that because just like Kasim Shatima said when he was reacting to Kemi Badenoch's comment, Nigeria is the greatest black nation in the world. But you know what the entire world understands? If Nigeria is the greatest black nation in the world, it means we have to put our focus on Nigeria. Because whatever happens in Nigeria affects the rest of Africa. And whatever affects Nigeria affects the rest of the black populations around the world. I have often said this, and I know a lot of Nigerians have said that. Fix Nigeria and see what happens in Africa. Fix Nigeria and see what happens in Africa. Put out the right leaders who will move our nation forward and see what happens in Africa. The rest of the world, they know and they're afraid. They know there's a sleeping giant, and Nigeria is not known as known as the giant of Africa for no reason. They are aware. We have the land, we have the people, we have the resources. All we're needing right now is good leadership to mix these things together. We have all the ingredients. We just need the right cook to mix these things together. And when we get the right cook, which are the leaders in the presidency, leaders in the governors, as governors, leaders as commissioners, leaders as ministers, and leaders as local government chairmen and councillors, leaders in our schools, leaders in our industries. Once we get the right set of leaders, we're ready to actually sell the market to the rest of the world. So when David said that entertainment is what is selling Africa to the rest of the world, he wasn't lying. It's truth. How many states came out to campaign on tourism for people to come to their state and foreigners to come to the state? No, it's the entertainers. These people slaved their lives in spite of the hardship, in spite of the difficulties to get Nigeria to where it is today. And then you come on TV, I'm talking about Nymat, and says he demarketed Nigeria. He didn't do that. So she's just talking emotionally and thinking that the rest of Africa will think that she's made. This is no sensible conversation. Davido said the truth. Davido said exactly what is right. I'm going to play a few more part of the clip as well.
The elections, they just completed the election. This is the campaigns. So what the reality of America is, and Oprah would say it at elections, but she would sit on her show or sit at a table and tell everybody, and tell a foreign interviewer what Davido did. And that's where it's wrong. Because you sat there, but now your reference point for whether they should go ahead and invest in the country. See, the point is, no matter how true your truth is, all your truth, if it's not going to be of service to your people.
So this is blatant lie anyway. You cannot tell him to hold his truth because he's not going to be of service to anybody. Recently, there was a lady that came up, an investor that came up. I think she'd been living in Nigeria. She's an American anyway. She's been living in Nigeria for a while, and she's built houses, and they've been destroyed. Do you know how many houses have been destroyed by Lagos State government? Do you know how many houses and properties that Wike right now is revoking their land ownership and then allegedly giving them to friends? Do you know that? So are you telling David to tell an investor to come into a country where there's no rule of law, where the government officials will steal with impunity and nothing happens, and where the judiciary is so corrupt, and where they know the fact that they can buy a piece of land today, a government minister can come in and say we're revoking the land, and then the land will be given to somebody else, and there will be no recourse for that. Let's be truthful. We want to fix Nigeria, but we have to make our leaders uncomfortable. And that discomfort is what we get them to sit up. When we start to call out their corruptions, when we start to call out their misdeeds and mismanagement. Nima rightly said it. She said, I agree with her on this one. She said allocations have been increased to the state, but we're not calling out the governors. And that's what this show is all about. That's what this content is all about. We're calling out everybody. No one is immune. We will call out the president. We will call out the governors. We will call out the council. And I'm saying to everyone, I said, pick up your phones. This idea that sometimes, let's take the roads, for example. Oh, this is a state road. This is a federal road. We're tired of it. People are dying on the road, and you're telling us this road is allocated to the federal government, where the Minister for Works don't have on road and transport, doesn't even have time for it, the road. They're all focused on the Calabar coastal road or whatever it's called, and everything else is there. Do you know how many people dies on the road every day? Bad road, because of mismanagement of fund or theft and fraud. Do you know how many people, your loved one, my loved ones, have all died on that road? The country is in shambles. We are on autopilot to failure. And what this lady is trying to say right now is that Davido demarketed Nigeria. He didn't do no such thing. We put the president's picture here on purpose because I want you to look at that president in case anyone sort of shares this video with TVC and with Nymat to say, listen, everything stops at a table. If the people aren't happy, they're not happy because of his policy. He said it was his turn. What has happened so far is that his turn has deepened Nigeria into more hardship. The price of food has gone up. Let me say this as well again, so that you understand about this thing about uh, subsidy. Every government subsidizes, but they do that with information and knowledge. Tinubu didn't do that with knowledge. He just proclaimed that and he ruined the economy. And you know what's been subsidizing the economy? Me and you. Those of us who pay for people's school fees and house rent, who pay for people's feeding. We are the ones subsidizing for medical bills. We're the ones subsidizing for the government. If you take that money that you've been giving to your cousin or your friends or their children, put them back in your pocket and don't give them, see what happens to them. We have been subsidizing for the government, and it's about time we start to call out the government. Because if we do not do it, the government won't sit up. And what we want to do is to make them sit up. So I welcome the likes of David. I think it was Idris that sang Nigeria Jaga Jaga. That's what I'm talking about. When he said that, everybody liked it. But today, 20 years or 30 years later down the road, it is still relevant. Do you know the kind of songs that Fela sang many years ago and are still relevant today? The same people who said they were fighting against military corruption are the same people who have now done even worse than what the military has done. And you're saying David demarketed Nigeria. Now, let me put Nima aside. My focus anyway. I'm just taking this as a case in point in making reference to what I feel we need to do to get the set right side of it. And I said we all have to participate. 2027 is down the road. We all talked and we were close to it. Oh, I wanted to actually talk about I think it was DK Chukwumerije that said something on Channels News when one of the guys interviewed him. We were close. And you remember when I talked about in spite of our government and our leaders, in spite of Yakubus, in spite of INEX rigging, we're still here. We were that close to getting the right set of people in leadership. But you can see the amount of election manipulations and rigging that happened to get us this sort of people. And they're never going to do beyond that because all they wanted to do was just political power. So for me, everyone that felt that David didn't say the right thing or didn't do the right thing or demarketed Nigeria, please look in the mirror and go into your offices and see the face of the president that sits on the top of the wall of your office. If that's Davido, then you can blame him. But if he's not David, but if he's Tinubu, then you can look to your president and say, "What are you doing?" After all, if things aren't working, all the people blaming the West, the president. Trump just won his election again. Who were people blaming? Biden, Kamala Harris. Recently, in the UK, Keir Starmer just won election. What did people blame? The prime minister was there before, Rishi Sunak. Look at everywhere. We're saying the buck doesn't stop at the president's table, and we're trying to, point the blame to somebody else. It stops at the table. If it works well, it will take the accolade. If it doesn't, we give the failure to him. So David has said everything right. So I'm saying to more celebrities, don't be afraid. You will not be cancelled. That's what I'm saying to all celebrities. Don't be afraid. Nobody's going to cancel you. We will come out en masse and support you because we need to change our leaders. We want people with convictions, people who have the right intent, people who you can have trails of what they've been doing and how effective they've been. That's what we want. We don't want criminal leaders anymore. Again, like I said, Nigeria got demarketed when the election was rigged. And every time we've gone out to go look for foreign investors, how many have we got? And as a matter of fact, if you look back, you will see that we've lost more businesses since this new administration took over than we had before. David mentioned the price of oil. Do you know how many years we've been trying to fix our refineries? We couldn't fix a nation with so much wealth. We couldn't fix the refineries. But yet one single person with the funds of the nation built a refinery. If you don't tell me what gross mismanagement means, and I would say, well, I think you don't know what you're talking about, because I can put that to you in the face and say, this is what it is. So do not tell me that Davido demarketed Nigeria because the president is going from one private jet to another jet looking for foreign investment. Please, I ask you, what has the president been doing? Sorry, what has the president been doing? If you show me one progress made by this administration so far, can you compare the naira to the pound from the time Buhari took over? I'm not excusing PDP, because I know APC and PDP are one and the same. The Jonathan government, the one before him, even all the way to Obasanjo, all one and the same. They ruined the nation. That's what I'm saying. If they had done the right thing, we wouldn't have charlatans today. Right. So, in conclusion, my point anyway is this: we are looking for more people like the likes of Davido to come out and make their point, their voice heard. Nigeria needs their voice. We need their voice like yesterday. We want them to speak up right now. We want this campaign to begin. Let's start encouraging people to go get their PVC. So I'm saying, everyone, please go and start getting your PVC. If we don't want the repeat of 2023, because the assumption right now is that the election is more or less gone, is rigged, so we shouldn't have it. But why would we do that? There's only one vote per person. So why would we say they assume that they can make their plans, but we have to come out en masse because we are more in numbers than they are? So we need the likes of Davido, all the celebrities who have good intentions for Nigeria. Come out, let your voices be heard. All right. We want you to speak up. We want you to encourage other Nigerians. Put them as hashtag. Go get your PVC. Time to start preparing for 2027. The process starts now. So that by the time we get there, we're all ready. Okay? All right. So anyway, just to conclude, I want to say thank you as well again for watching, sharing, and subscribing to this content. Please leave a comment, again, share, like, and comment, and then we will catch up in another video. God bless. And again, 2027 is game on right now. Bye for now.